The push to give convicted felons the right to vote in Kentucky is moving through the legislature, but some supporters of this bill may actually be taking a step back for voting rights. They say it's so loaded with amendments and extra regulations that county clerks won't be able to figure out who could vote and who couldn't. Local 12's Joe Webb's been following the story, joins us from the newsroom with what this all means. Joe.
Well, Kit, in most states, convicted felons lose their right to vote, but in most states they get it back when they've done their time. Not in Kentucky. You have to get a pardon from the governor to get your voting rights back. The General Assembly has wrestled with this issue for the last several sessions, and last week, for the first time, a bill passed the Senate, but it has some serious restrictions, including a 5-year waiting period. And even the League of Women Voters says it can't support that. Anthony Bush is one of 180,000 convicted felons in Kentucky who lost the right to vote and haven't got it back. He did his time and says he's been clean for a couple of years.
If you've done your time, you know, time waits for no man, so why shouldn't I have a chance to get right back out and start my life over? You know what I'm saying? You want me to be productive in the community, why should I have to wait 5 years to vote?
The 5-year wait is just one of many amendments Kentucky's Senate tacked on the bill last week and sent back to the House. The League of Women Voters says those changes would keep more than 100,000 of those 180,000 from voting again. The original bill would have removed the permanent voting ban for all but a handful of serious crimes, including murder and crimes against children. And it affects a disproportionate number of African American men.
If the father votes, then the mother votes, then the child will look for the opportunity to vote. So voting is so very, very important.
Currently, Kentucky's convicted felons can get their voting rights restored, but only by a special pardon granted by the sitting governor. That takes time. The League of Women Voters also pulled back its support of the amended bill because of the extra work it would create for county clerks. The amendments pile on restrictions and force clerks to make judgments on what crimes are deal breakers.
The procedural issues here have not been defined, and I think would be very burdensome for my office.
Time consuming.
Very time consuming. And I'd be making, again, a judgment call if they meet certain these criteria.
Now, the bill now goes back to the Kentucky House with that raft of amendments. Senate Leader Damon Thayer says the Senate will not even bring it up for a vote if it comes back to them without those amendments. Now, if it ultimately passes, Kentucky voters will have to approve it because this would amend the state constitution. Kit?
Wow. Thank you, Joe. Kentucky, one of the 4 most restrictive states banning former felons from voting. Illinois, Ohio, and Indiana restore voting rights when a convicted felon completes his sentence. Many states restore them after the inmate completes his sentence and any probation or parole supervision.